Tēnā koe from New Zealand. Assalamu alaikum. Ni hao ma. Salamat petang. This evening, my good friend Jimmy Ong has asked me to come and talk to you about confidence and mental health. Back when I was in Asia, I was known as the confidence coach for individuals and organizations. How am I able to do that? I have super high levels of confidence and my mental health is extremely strong. So I have a very powerful mind because I'm in touch with my emotions and my feelings, and I can control what I do. Think, feel, do. That is going to be our basis for this evening's conversation. But firstly, let's look at the definition of confidence and let's look at the definition of mental health, because this is going to be different from anything that you heard. I wrote the world's first good news book about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Never been done before. I wrote the VIP of mental health. Never been done before, because I look at things differently. So what I'm going to do this evening is to give you the opportunity to put a different lens on what you're looking at so that you can see it through my eyes, and then take what you need for you. Because there is only one correct definition for confidence, and there's only one correct definition for mental health. And those definitions are those definitions that serve you. So there is no point in applying a negative definition to something if it's going to create negativity for you. So for confidence, if you think confidence is being big and strong and out there like I am, and that's not who you are, that's not going to serve you, and that's not going to increase your confidence, it's going to lower it. So here is my definition of confidence. My definition of confidence, it's an ability. How do you get an ability? It is a skill that is trained through a process. A formalized training process where I've been a professional soldier, where I was professionally trained through a system and a process for me to be confident in everything that I do. How does that work in a military process? I'm speaking to a lot of Singaporeans here with national service. You are placed in environments of high stress, high pressure, fear, physical pain, and you are constantly told what to do in those situations. Repetition, 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 10,000 hours to get a muscle mindset memory so that you can do it automatically. So that when you walk into a situation that you're familiar with, in the emotion of fear, because that's where you're going to be operating, it's familiar and you are confident. Why? Because you are competent. So for me, the definition of confidence is an ability to understand and control the situations that you walk into. When you can understand what you're dealing with and control what you're dealing with, then you are naturally going to be confident in dealing with that. So obviously, those things that you aren't confident in, you don't understand them, and you can't control them. But when someone explains to you in such a way that you understand, that's what's up here, it's understanding, thinking, mental, logical. When you understand what's going on with a definition that's positive, not negative, then you can move on to a process to learn how to control that. The main issues that we deal with people with low self-esteem and self-confidence, feelings. People put confidence as a feeling. Confidence is not a feeling, confidence is a knowing. Yet when we are scared, when we don't know, then the emotion of fear activates because we can't understand it, which means we can't control it. So Dion Jessen, the confidence coach, definition of confidence, it is an ability to understand and control what you're dealing with. And an emotional definition is a deep knowing that gives you the feeling of peace. And people will say the feeling of confidence. Fear is a feeling, confidence is a knowing. Let's start there. There are two types of confidence, and it's a scale. So at this end, you've got courageous confidence. It's like the Bruce Lee version of confidence. It's out there, it's big, it's loud, the energy projects. I'm a courageously confident guy, right? I'm out there, I'm in your face, I'm a big guy. And a lot of situations in Asia, that actually pushes people away because culturally, Asians are at the other end of the confidence spectrum, just as powerful, But where this one is courageous confidence, the big Bruce Lee out there, type confidence, a lot of the Asian community and Asian culture is the quiet confidence. The difference between Bruce Lee and a Buddhist monk. Equally powerful, equally confident. Two totally different ends of the spectrum in the energy that is projected. One of the biggest mistakes I see the Asian culture make is trying to take on this expat, European, Western, loud, courageous type confidence. And what sits in the middle is us Kiwis. So most of the time us Kiwis in New Zealand, us Pacific Islanders down here in the South Pacific, we are generally quiet, fun-loving, sporty, competitive people. But the moment something happens where we need to step up as a warrior race and fight, then we can activate that courageous confidence, throw a haka down, change our state, go into warrior state, and switch it back off and be nice and relaxed. And just as there's two types of confidence, courageous and quiet, Bruce Lee, Buddhist monk, there's a danger to both sides. The danger for being courageously confident, if you go too far, you tip over into arrogance, and you're perceived as big, loud, and arrogant. Not courageously confident, but arrogant at this end of the scale. At the other end of the scale, if you are quietly confident and you don't step up when you're supposed to step up, then you're seen as weak, soft. Alright? So on this confidence scale, when something happens, those that are courageously confident, they step forward and they open up and they get stronger. I walk into a traffic accident, a big fight, I step up. My confidence comes out. If I'm quietly confident, I walk into those same situations, I'm calm and I'm direct. And I can tell you with my eyes and my energy that if you cross this line, it will not work for you. And I can be quietly confident, not weak. Courageously confident, not arrogant. So let's start there with confidence. It is a knowing. Under the emotion of fear, it is a knowing that you understand what's happening and you can control it. And that is a process that becomes a skill, that becomes an ability. Turn confidence on and off. So let's do a little assessment with you right now. For you right now as an individual, first question to ask yourself, write the answer down. Are you courageously confident? Are you the one that steps out? Or are you quietly confident? Bruce Lee, Buddhist monk. Where are you on that scale? Or do you sit in the middle like a Pacific Islander? The ability to step it up and go this way, or quieten it down and go this way. It's a high level skill. But I've talked a lot about fear. When we start talking about confidence and mental health, fear is the dominant emotion if you don't understand this. So let's address that. Okay. Your little voice, and let's talk about this little voice. Your little voice, my little voice is always going to protect us. That little voice, whether it's fear, whether it's anger, whatever this little voice is that's talking to you the loudest, is your biggest protector. So that's a concept called your subconscious bodyguards. We all have subconscious bodyguards that keep us safe. Fear is the most powerful one of keeping us safe. Okay? So when we talk about fear, again, I'm giving you this lens to look through. When I look through the lens and I speak about fear, the relationship with fear is key. Fear is there to serve you. If you don't think fear is natural, it shouldn't be there. It was put there, all right? In our emotions. It's part of who we are. So my relationship with fear is one of my best friends. It is my hardest working employee and probably one of my strongest subconscious bodyguards. Why? Works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for free. So fear is an absolute blessing, because if you don't know what's going on and your confidence is low and fear is really, really high, fear is going to tell you exactly where you're not confident. What a blessing. Hardest working employee. So if you don't know what's happening right now, what's happening with COVID, is it going to be lockdown level 1, 2, 3 or 4? What do I do in business? All these things that you're scared of is the list for your confidence training menu. So having the correct relationship with fear is really important. So my first question I ask you is, are you courageously confident? Or are you quietly confident? My next question is, what is your relationship to fear? Because if you think fear is something bad, something evil, something to be overcome, something to stay away from, you are working against yourself. It's unnatural not to fear. Fear is natural. And so I created this acronym, and that was just talking to individuals and families. If we was talking about business, here's my acronym for fear. The F stands for focus. The moment you're scared, instant focus, right? Right here. Whatever you're scared of, you're going to focus on it. And then adrenaline's going to dump, all your emotions are going to kick off. So you've got a biological, emotional, psychological response all happening at once. So now what have you got? You got the E, stands for energy. Free focus. Free energy. From your hardest working employee that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for free. Free energy. Free focus. But it's your attitude that dictates your results. So that's my fear acronym. Focus, energy, your attitude dictates your results. And in that attitude is where we're putting these definitions. So whatever you fear right now, you're getting live, accurate information. So whatever so now you have free focus and free energy, and you've got all this information getting told to you for free from your subconscious bodyguard called fear. Now all of the information is valid, but not all the information is accurate. Okay? First question, courageously confident, quietly confident. Second question, what is your relationship with fear? Third question, are you taking everything that fear tells you as accurate or valid? Both or neither? Because fear could be telling you all sorts of things that may never happen. That's called worry, that they put a label of anxiety on. We'll talk about that in mental health. So, free focus, free energy, your attitude dictates your results. You're going to get all of this information for free. On tap, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What a blessing, what a resource. All fears are valid because they're your fears. Don't discount your fears and say they're stupid. Don't do that. Alright, you're going to insult your hardest working employee. All fears are valid. You're allowed to be scared. You're allowed to have fear for these things. So take a deep breath, let it out. Whatever scares you right now is valid to you. Otherwise it wouldn't have manifested. Okay? But is the information accurate? Making your fears valid acknowledges your heart, your emotions, that you're scared, and you're allowed to be scared because you got a heart. So we're acknowledging that by making those fears valid. Now we come back up in here from our emotions up into prefrontal cortex, back into our logical mind. We ask the question, is the information accurate? Now we're up in our minds again, we can start going back to understanding and have a knowing. Could this happen? Sure. We can run a risk assessment, do something about that when we get into family and business. Confidence is the ability to understand and control anything you're dealing with. It is a knowing in the midst of an emotion of fear. And the more you're trained to deal with different situations, the more confident you are in dealing with those situations. So let me move on to a couple of C's. Right? I like 3 lanes, I like triangles, I like putting things in letters because it's easy for me to what? Understand. And if I can understand it, I can control it. And if I'm in the emotion of fear when something happens, but I understand I can control it, I'm confident to deal with it. Is it starting to make sense now? Now, apologise, I do talk quite quickly. I'm trying my hardest to slow down because I understand that English is not the first language for a lot of people watching, but I get very, very excited. So all my systems start generating when I start talking about fear and confidence because that's how I've been trained. So for an individual, let's do an assessment on where you are confident. And this comes from my concept called Make Peace with the Mirror. There's 4 L's. L's. Right? The first L is your looks. Are you confident how you look? Your second L is your language, your ability to communicate. In Asia, I found that a lot of people, if their English language skills were low, their confidence was low. Let me tell you, your English is better than my Malay or my Chinese. Alright? So your looks, your language, then it's your likability. That's why Facebook calls it likes. And the last L is your legitimacy in the environment that you're in. Looks, language, likability, legitimacy. Because if you're not confident in any of those 4 L's, fear will generate. And the main fear that will generate is fear of rejection. And in Asia, losing face. This is as an individual. Now, we take those 4 L's across into business, it's the same. Do you look like a business person? If I go online and I find you, do you look like a business person? Does your business look legitimate? Do you have a strong LinkedIn profile? Can I see your work history? Can I see testimonials? Am I confident in your looks as a business person? Language, are you speaking as a business person? Are you speaking the vocabulary of business? Do people like what you do in business or how you do business? Doesn't matter if you're profitable, if you're treating people like slaves. So do they like you as a business person, as a business? And you're a legitimate business now in 2021. Have you pivoted? Have you adapted? Have you taken your products and services, your logistics, your staff training, your whole vocabulary? Have you adapted that now to 2021? And as I start speaking like this, if your best employee, fear, is going, no we haven't, no we haven't, no we haven't, what's happened? Valid fear, is it accurate? Write the list. Fear is going to give the list. That's your confidence training list. So as an individual, you have to be confident in the 4 L's, making peace with the mirror as an individual and as a business. So write that down. Write 4 L's, 2, 3, 4. Individual, happy with your looks? Yes, no. If it's a no, what aren't you happy with? As a business, do you look like a business? Is your website being updated? Is your landing page being updated? Is your LinkedIn profile being updated? Have you sent an email to everyone on your database just to say, just thinking about you, making sure everything's okay? A lot of scary stuff out there. We're dealing with it too. We've got some things that might help. Let's talk. Yeah? Okay. Then the next concept we go to is VIP. Value, identity and purpose. This is the foundation of strong mental health. We've talked about confidence, what it is. Don't worry, I'll show you how to increase your confidence at the end. But now we're talking about mental health. Here's the correct definition of mental health. The ability for you to deal with anything you're dealing with and stay in control of your thoughts, feelings and behaviors for a positive outcome. That's all it is. It's not this big, huge, complex thing. People are making it a big, huge, complex thing. It's not. All your thoughts and feelings are natural. All your thoughts and feelings are valid. It is up to you to decide if they're accurate or not. Now, you can go further past that, and even if the information is valid and is accurate, if it doesn't serve you, you still don't have to accept it. The same with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. When I wrote the World's First Good News book about PTSD, I had to call it PTSD because everyone knew what it was. But I disagreed that it was a disorder. It was just post-traumatic stress. I disagreed that it was a disorder. Even if the information was valid and accurate according to the medical model, I disagreed with it because it doesn't serve me. No point in me having a disorder. That's not going to help me or my family or my business. So if it wasn't a disorder, what else could it be? Right? So whatever you're dealing with right now, if you accept that definition and it's negative, ask yourself this question. If I could create a positive definition of what I'm dealing with, would I get a positive outcome? Yes. So when I looked at post-traumatic stress, I saw it's just training. I am reacting the way I was trained to react. Or if you haven't had any training, you're just reacting the best way that you know how in order to survive. So if you've had no formal training in increasing your confidence, increasing your mental health, and right now you're struggling with your confidence and your mental health, you are just doing the best you know how to do, with your hardest working bodyguards giving you all the information. So if you have low confidence, low self-esteem, or your mental health is not that strong, then what can you do to increase those levels? And a lot of people are coming on here now because they just want this piece of the information. So let's just refresh what we know about confidence and mental health. Confidence is the ability to understand what is happening and control it. It's the stretch between logical mind and emotion. primarily fear. Then we talked about the two different types of confidence, courageous and quiet. Bruce Lee, Buddhist monk. We looked at the dangers of going too far one way, too far on the courageous side, arrogant. Too far on the quiet confidence, weak. Then we started talking about what is our relationship with fear. Hardest working bodyguard. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, always working for us, keeping us safe. Every piece of information is valid. Your choice of it is accurate. Then we went into mental health. World Health Organization has got their definition. I disagree with it. My definition is the ability for you to be able to control your thoughts, feelings and behaviors for a positive outcome. That's it. It's not huge and complex. Now, how can you increase those levels? And we spoke about the 4 L's for an individual, the 4 L's for a business. For an individual, read your testimonies. Read your testimonies and look for how you make people feel. Right? Think, feel, do. In your testimony, you're going to influence how people think, how people feel, and what people do. For example, you might say, we hired Jimmy Ong to come and speak to our team to inspire them when life gets tough. Jimmy was a fantastic speaker. He touched the hearts of every single person that heard him. There was not a dry eye in the room. Right, that's a real testimony for Jimmy Ong. When I heard Jimmy Ong speak, I burst into tears. I'm trying not to cry now just thinking about Jimmy Ong and connecting to him spiritually and emotionally and to that story. So when you look at other people's testimonies of you, you're now looking through other people's eyes at yourself. And they won't see those flaws if they've written you a reference or a testimony. They're seeing, looked professional, sounded great, loved them, totally legitimate in the space that we got them. So a really good way to increase your confidence right now is to read your testimonies. As a family, you can sit down and say, this is what we're going to do for the next 20 minutes. Every single person is going to write down 20 things that you love about every single person in this family and sit there and read them all out. And that's one of the team building tasks I do for mental health and corporate. I go, right, team leaders, grab your teams, sit down, run this exercise. You can do this exercise when you get to work tomorrow. It's going to be Sunday. Don't work on Sundays. When you get to work on Monday, all right? Pull the team in. Right, we're going to do this exercise. I just want to share how valuable you all are to me. Value, identity, purpose, mental health triangle. We're getting there. And then tell every single staff member on a piece of paper, separate piece of paper for each person. So let's say there's 4 people here. Say there's Jimmy Ong, Kenneth Kwan, Jerome Joseph, Brenda Benz. I'm going to have a piece of paper for all of those people. I'm going to write the 20 things that I absolutely love about those people in this setting. And then everyone does that, and then everyone gets their own piles. And if you've got 10 in a team, all right, you're going to have 9, because you're not going to write one for yourself. You're going to have 9 testimonies for every single person, and there's going to be 90 pieces of positive energy sitting there. And then you get the team leader to sit there and read out. Okay, I'm going to do Jimmy's first. Jimmy, you don't say who said it. It's like, Jimmy, here's the first 20 things that this person loves about you. Jimmy, I love that the moment you turn up, you're always well dressed. Jimmy, I love that whenever you turn up, you always got a smile on your face. Jimmy, I love, and then what's Jimmy getting fed? Positive pieces of information going into him. 120 pieces of positive energy going into him. Come on, people. When's the last time you sat there and had 120 compliments getting put into you? That's going to raise your self-esteem. That's going to raise your self-confidence. Because what do you know? You know that there's 120 things there that people like about you. It's going to be one of those 4 L's, right? And that's for you as the individual. And do it for your family. Now in business, you do the same too for the morale side. And the other hardest working employees in Asia is the little KPI voice. This is all really nice, Dion, but how do we increase engagement, productivity and revenue with mental health? No, I'm sorry, Jimmy, but you knew this was going to happen when I come to talk to Asia, right? Money is the god in Asia. You've got to have profit revenue coming into business. No one's paying attention to mental health and confidence and all of these things prior to COVID in business, right? I was doing this for years. No one cared. But now, with COVID, suicide rates are increasing. Suicide is still illegal in Malaysia. It was just made, well, it was illegal in Singapore until January 2020. January 2020. So culturally, suicide and all these mental health, now it's a big deal. Now Jimmy's asked me to come and speak because he actually cares about the people listening to this. Most Asian businesses don't care about the fact that people are killing themselves and they've got mental health issues. That's not what they're worried about. What they're worried about is because this is happening to their workforce, the revenue's going down. So let me switch this up a little bit. I was a regional operations manager for Asia Pacific. So all of you that are heart-centered people here, and we're talking about confidence and making people feel good and doing the human thing, I love you. I'm going to put you to the side for a moment. Okay? Nice and wrapped up, nice and happy, have a hot drink. Char siu bao. Oh man, I miss char siu bao. Sit over here for a second. Let's talk to the hard-nosed business people here. If I compare a small demographic of a country in the world, Australia. Australia loses $4 billion a year, collectively, those organisations that prioritise productivity over employee well-being. These guys. If you prioritise productivity over these guys, and you're only as big as Australia, $4 billion you're going to pour down the toilet. Alright? Pay attention. If you want to increase engagement, productivity and revenue, you must increase the self-esteem and the self-confidence for your employees and give them value as human beings. Human value. How do you do that? You use the VIP triangle. Value, identity and purpose. For their identity of being in your business, they must have a high value. So if you want to increase engagement, productivity and revenue in your business, you've got to look after these guys. How do you do that? It's the VIP triangle. Value, identity and purpose. For their identity of being your employees or your contractors, their value must be high. If you can't afford financial value right now to keep their value high, give them another form of value. Give them emotional value. Get someone in to speak to them about increasing their self-confidence and self-esteem. Get someone in there to help strengthen their mental health. If you do that, the engagement will go up. Here's some more money you're wasting. If you take your staff disengagement percentage as a percentage of your workforce, how many people are disengaged, and you multiply that by your yearly payroll. Okay, so if you take your staff disengagement percentage, the percentage of people in your organization that are disengaged, on the toilet on Facebook or not liaising with you, if you take your staff disengagement percentage and you multiply that by your yearly payroll, that is your yearly loss in dollars. Add that to prioritizing productivity over employee well-being. Asia, you are about to explode business-wise in a very, very bad way. You are going to lose a lot of money if you don't get a grip of this. Suicide attempts will increase in Malaysia and Singapore. Mental health challenges and mental illness will increase in Singapore and Malaysia. Thailand is the worst in Asia at the moment. The money god is over. It is now about the human element. You can make as much money as you like if you're looking after value, identity and purpose, self-esteem and self-confidence of your employees. This is no longer tokenistic stuff. This is critical business information, skill sets for the new normal. If you disagree with me, look at Greta Thunberg. 13-year-old came and had a temper tantrum online, gets a Nobel Peace Prize. Gets the whole attention of the world. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry sit on a talk show. Gets all the attention, all the influence of the world. Psychosocial issues, issues with society. You can't stay in this little bubble in Asia any longer when it comes to confidence and mental health. Because the next generation's coming through. We're already insulting them. We're calling them the strawberry generation. Softer, easier to bruise, right? Yeah. They're more in touch with their emotions. Previous generations, hard-nosed business people have hardened their mind, they've hardened their hearts. No different from the military. A hard-nosed Asian business person is no different from a military commander. Shut down emotion, complete the mission. That's it. Here's our revenue, here's our budget, this is how many people we can pay to get this result. If that result's down, cut them away, get some more. You're not going to last in business doing it that way. Because those social shifts will remove all of your value. Already started seeing it with Uber and Grab and cryptocurrency. The psychosocial energy of society and social media is all emotional. It's not logical. None of this makes sense, right? It's all emotional. But when you know that, you can control that. Knowing what I just told you now, I don't care if you're the hardest nosed business person in Asia and you're the 14th generation of a dynasty that's got hundreds of millions of dollars. I presented to $1 billion company that owns airlines. They're not struggling with anything mentally. They're struggling financially, but they were all struggling emotionally. They had to lay off 25% of their staff globally. That affected them here, in their heart. But we can't say that we've got a heart in business, so it gets put under mental health. So that was one way to increase your confidence. Let's bring everyone back into the room now. Right? You can be a hard-nosed business person or people that love people, all right? Courageously confident, quietly confident. Let's all sit back down here again. Take a breath. Ooh, that was a bit of an unload, okay? So let's sit down. Let's divvy this up again nice and tidy. One way to increase your confidence as an individual, read your testimonies. Do it as a group setting, as a family. Do it in your business. And then you must understand the VIP triangle. Value, identity, and purpose. Where are you getting your value? What makes you feel like a VIP? Is it because of who you are, your role, your job, and that identity? Or what you do? Because here's the danger. And here's what's happening around the world that gets thrown on mental health. If you get all your value for the identity of being this person at work and you lose your job, what happens to all that value? Gone. If you get all your value from being the CEO of this business and you introduce yourself, hi, my name's such and such, I'm the CEO, and then you lose your job, that business goes out of business, all that value's gone. If you get all your value from the identity of being married and then you have a divorce, all that value attached to identity is gone. So if you lose all your value, what's the point being alive? And this is the danger in Asia of confidence and mental health. The moment that a successful Asian business person loses their ability to generate income, their value to themselves in the mirror, to their family at home, in the workplace and in the world culturally, and losing face, it's gone. And the thousands of people I've dealt with that were suicidal, it comes to one thing and one thing only. Is there more value in being dead, or is there more value in being alive? And when that answer to that question is, I'm better off dead than I am alive, that's when the suicides start. That's where we are now. I'm mentoring and coaching people after suicide attempts in Asia. I'm still talking people down. Talking people down from jumping out of HDB windows. Now, I don't care what you think the best way to do business is in Asia. If your highest performing employee previously jumps out of the HDB window and kills themselves, it's going to cost you a lot of money. But I'd be more concerned with the effect that it has on that person's family. So why do we come to this point at the end of this discussion? Pull you down into this energy? It's because there's people sitting here with a pen right now saying, Dion, you've only given us one way to increase our confidence and increase our mental health. Read our testimonies and then understand your VIP thing. That's not enough from you right now. So I'm going to leave you with a way to increase your self-esteem and your self-confidence Keep your mental health strong, because the stakes are life and death. You must, no argument, look at yourself through the eyes of people that love you. And you have to keep doing that until you can look through your own eyes and see that. But the most powerful eyes to look through are the eyes of your God. If you look at yourself through the eyes of your God, you will hear their voice. My God will say to me, I'm a son of the Most High King. That my Heavenly Father loved me so much, He sent His only begotten Son to die for me. My God will say, no man can pluck you out of my hand, and my Father who is in heaven, who is greater than I, no one can pluck you out of His hand. You are blessed and highly favoured. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. When you start looking at yourself through the eyes of your God, it is almost impossible to have low self-esteem and self-confidence. It's almost impossible not to have strong mental health. Whichever God you serve, that's up to you. So finally, my friends, if you're having any issues with your self-confidence, self-esteem as an individual, in your family or in your business, I can help. Because when I look at you through these eyes, I see a whole culture of quietly confident, humble, beautiful, harmonious people that have turned too long to trying to focus on how to make the most money and use money as the status, living under the constant fear of losing face. You are a powerful, powerful people. I was born in Singapore. You can turn this around. If nothing else is working for you, give God a chance. And if you're not into that side at all, then there's simple processes that you can use to build this up. Jimmy, I love you, brother. Thank you very much for asking me to come and speak. I hope that resonates with someone. Any other questions, get in touch with Jimmy, and Jimmy knows how to find me. Everything else is here in my Line Academy, lineacademy.co.nz. You come in and see how we do it down here in the South Pacific. And hopefully I'll get back there for that char siu bao one day, Jimmy. God bless.